Unfair expectations are the well, you should have known how.
Because at the end of the day, whomever your family is, that's who you really love and you want to
A lot of
protect.
times men we don't grieve, we're not
That's right.
vulnerable.
That's right.
We
I'm
don't
on a battlefield in war for my
Right, come
family,
on now.
and it
Come
ain't
on.
always gonna be.
Mm, 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 mm. I know it's crazy. Welcome, 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 welcome everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another segment of early morning coffee. I got tea. Early morning, wherever you're drinking. I don't know what to do. With Marvina and
Good
her
morning, Tara.
Yvonne. Good morning, Tara. Good morning, girl.
Good
Where we
morning. Good
give a
morning.
voice to the voiceless and we let you say what is on your mind. What you drinking on, Tara? I know you got something you drinking. Tell me what you're drinking, girl. Put it in the chat. Well, I am drinking on a cup of tea this morning. I've been drinking on tea for the past 2 weeks now. Well, yeah, I think it has been 2 weeks. Well,
Mhm.
and it's that cinnamon, turmeric, ginger tea. Thank you, Auntie. She gifted us with this tea during our birthday time. I'm still drinking on it. I find that it's giving me not just energy, but it's keeping the inflammation down also. Of course, we're on this more mito kick now also. So I don't know which one is doing what it's doing, but it's doing. That's all I can say. Thank God. Amen. Good morning, Dada. Oh my God, look at my sissy. All right, Yvonne, what you got going on over there in your neck of the wood?
Well, good
Folgers
morning.
coffee.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am not drinking coffee this morning. I am actually drinking some green tea this morning. Got a little cold and everything, so just trying to go ahead and knock it out and soothe the throat, soothe the throat. However, Mito is working. More Mito is working. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm doing this morning. No coffee, so in my tea, I do have some lemon juice and some honey.
Good
That's
stuff.
kind of like how I kind of like to have mine. So that's what I have going on this morning.
Tyra, if you go on, I don't know if you want. Yeah, you are on TikTok. You don't go on TikTok and get the. They have it on there. Try that tea with the turmeric and the ginger and the cinnamon. It's it's I feel it helps a lot. Hey Lee, hey Eric. Oh my God, how are you? Good morning. Yeah, it helps. I mean, when I say it's helping a lot, and I'm just on this health kick journey right now. When I was walking I was walking my dog yesterday, and I'm gonna say it because, some people just come off and they just say anything, and I just take it as, what are you seeing? But I was walking my dog yesterday, and lady I know, she rolled up, hey Chanel,
Good morning,
and
Chanel.
she said to me, "Ooh, you look like you put on some weight." And I looked at her, I said, "Yes, I did, baby." I said, I said I actually dropped a few pounds, but you know what? This is God's temple, and whatever it is, He is pleased, and that's how I left it. Because
That
and then
part.
I looked at her and I said, "Well, it looks like you lost a lot of weight, you know." Oh, I'm going through. And then I thought about it while I was walking. I said to myself, look at the two responses that was made at that time. If I was one of those ones that's been like real conscious about my weight and being upset, that probably would have took me there. But
Mm.
I really had to think about it. But when I said, "Oh, you look like you lost a few pounds," her answer was, "Yeah, I'm going through some things." What do you mean? I'm saying, okay. And that brings us to what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead on and give my BFF her time to give her current event today. What's going on, BFF?
Three things I'm going to touch base on today. Number one, thank you for you guys that have been showing up at the polls. Thank you. I see people in my message, they sending me little things saying, hey, I got out and I voted. I went back for the runoffs and everything like that. So it's important that we stay engaged from the beginning to the end. So every time you hear something come up where there's a runoff or something like that that's leading up to the primaries, please make sure that you go and stay informed about what's happening in your community. The other thing is e-bikes. I'm hearing and seeing more and more situations where there are accidents with these kids on these e-bikes. One, parents, you guys need to put these kids on a helmet. They ride on the streets. E-bikes are not supposed to be on the sidewalk. So there was a recent situation where the young man was on the e-bike and he jumped off of the sidewalk to avoid the people that's walking on the sidewalk and wound up getting hit by a car. So you guys need to be cautious and conscientious of where you are allowing your kids to ride these bikes. Um, and then thirdly, we have to be careful about who we allow into our inner court, into our inner circle. More and more situations of, these cases of domestic violence. A 4-year-old, my heart goes out to her family. The 4-year-old was dad in front of the mother stabbed to death the 4-year-old to punish the mother, make the mother feel bad. So people just be mindful of, and when people come to you for help, because the young lady said that she reached out to so many people for help and they turned their back on her. When people come to you for help, know that it takes a lot for someone to step out of their comfort zone and come to you and ask you for help. And it does not take much to provide some sound advice, some telephone numbers, some community awareness, or even just get the police involved. So so don't be so quick to take and turn your back on people, and that will also bring us into what our subject is today.
Yeah, I mean that's just mainly what we're ready to touch on. And this is a little.
Hmm.
This conversation is not where we trying to get spiritual, or we're not trying
Right.
to come in and tell people what to do. We just kind of want to touch on this because I asked my BFF. I said, "So what you want to talk about?" So she pulled up a lot of things, and she came up with this one. I said, "Well, pick one, pick it," and she came up with it. Of course, I said, all right, let's just do it, and I find that a lot of times our conversations to that we talk about in person, it helps other people, you know, while we're out and we're talking to you
Hmm.
all, to kind of do an inventory on yourselves or inventory on people that you're around, and kind of get a insight on, things when it comes down to self, and and other people, and people we have on our in our lane, and eating at our table, and people who we pray with, who we go to church with, who we live with. We got to really start understanding we're not separate. We're not a separate entity. We're all made from the same equity, which is the higher power of God, of your understanding. But sometimes it's the way we think about things and we see things. It kind of separates us from really seeing who we are or who other people are. So anyway, we're going to go ahead on, and I'm going to bring in the introduction. I just want y'all to take a listen to what the words are saying in this introduction, and then we're going to come back and talk about this topic, and just give it a great thought process before you
Yeah.
while you're listening to this.
Tally, I've been thinking about something. We've all heard people say, mind your business, but lately I've been wondering if we really understand what that means, because sometimes it sounds like wisdom, and sometimes it sounds like a way to avoid accountability. What's interesting is there's a difference telling someone to mind their business and actually minding your own business, and I think a lot of people confuse the two.
I agree, Muse. I think that's where so many people get confused. There are definitely times when we need to focus on our own lives, our own healing, and our own responsibilities. But I also believe there are moments when caring about someone isn't being nudie, it's being compassionate. Sometimes people aren't looking for someone to fix their problems. They just need someone who cares enough to their struggle.
That's true, Talia, but here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes people tell us to mind our business when what they really mean is, don't question me. They don't want accountability. They don't want anyone speaking truth into their situation. And I think that's where we have to ask ourselves a difficult question. Are we respecting someone's boundaries, or are we allowing them to avoid responsibility?
I think that's where discernment comes in, Muse, because not every situation requires our involvement, but not every situation should be ignored either. Sometimes people are genuinely asking private change. We should respect that, but to other really asking members, or even members of a community, there are moments when caring enough to speak up is an act of love.
Talia, that's exactly what makes this conversation so interesting, because if someone is walking down the street and their purse gets snatched, most of us wouldn't just stand there and say we'd call for help. We'd check on them, we'd do something. So maybe the real question isn't whether we should mind our business. Maybe the question is, when does someone else's problem become our responsibility?
I think someone else's problem becomes responsibility when their safety, well-being. Now, that doesn't mean we have to insert ourselves into every situation, but it does mean we should become so focused on minding our own business that we check on them or offer a helping hand. And maybe that's the difference between being nosy and being neighborly.
So maybe the answer isn't simply mind your business or don't mind your business.
Maybe it's knowing when to stay in your lane and knowing when someone needs you to step out of it, because compassion and accountability can exist in the same space.
This is What's in the Bag,
The journey within,
where every voice matters.
All right, all right, all right. Let's get to the conversation. Okay, so our conversation today is, and we are our guests. Okay, well, God is our guest, but we are our guests today. So we're gonna have a conversation, and I would like y'all to comment. Don't just listen.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, we want to just listen and not give any hope and strength, but your comments helps out someone else. All right, so me and Yvonne, we was talking about minding our own business versus mind your business, or versus minding your business. Okay, so Yvonne, I'm gonna let you go ahead on and start with this, because you chose it, and we're gonna kind of give an idea on what is meant to us about minding our business, or mind our own business. Go ahead, Yvonne.
So, for me, and I ask everybody again, share this, because like I said, it's a lot of people out there that kind of get confused with mind your business versus minding your business. For me, mind your business is typically it's usually directed it's usually directed at someone else, and sometimes people can kind of get a little salty about it when somebody says mind your business, and sometimes it can mean stay out of my affairs. It can be about setting healthy boundaries and protecting privacy. And I get it, but sometimes it can also be used to avoid accountability, like Marvina said, or shut down legitimate concerns. And then minding your business for me is where it's directed at yourself, means focusing on your own goals, your family, your finances, health, and your purpose, and staying in your lane without being distracted by what everyone else is doing. Um, so that's what it means. That's what that means to me. What about you, Marvina?
Well, same difference. When someone says mind your business, and normally it comes from other people. Somebody's in somebody's business. They just get to the
Hmm.
point where, and it's not always healthy. It's not, you know, we do look at minding somebody's business sometime as getting into their affairs. But when you minding somebody's business, when you see something needs to be said or done, that's when the healthy part comes in.
Hmm.
So as far as me minding my business, my own business, I see that as, paying attention to what's going on inside of me, like I said, in inventory. Because if I get too focused on minding someone else's business, I can't see myself. A healthy thing I've said to my sister, me and my sister had a conversation a while back, and she's on the show right now. And she asked me what one time and I don't know if she remembers, she was saying something to the effect that, did you hear such and such and such? And I said, you know what? I don't get into other people's business, because when I get in other people's business, it becomes my business. And I find that just paying attention and not always talking to people and minding their business, it's easy for me to stay focused and centered on what's going on with me, because now their business is not my business. So, there are times that I find that minding other people's business could be healthy, but a lot of
Hmm.
times I just find me minding my own business even works better for me. So
You
that's
know,
what that.
and I guess what sometimes people claim, uh, and that's the flip side. The flip side is where people claim that they're helping when they're really trying to be nosy so they can have something to gossip about, or inserting themselves where they don't belong, trying to run somebody else's household. And I've seen this a lot where it comes to, think about people who get married, and then you got the parents and all that kind of stuff that's trying to run the newlyweds household, if you will. Um, you've got siblings who they may have good intentions, some of them, but then some of them, it's just a talk about conversation that gives them an opportune time to either look down on somebody and gossip about the other person. Um, but when does it come to where you mind somebody else's business in order to help them? If you see somebody in true dire need, or true help, needing some type of help, that where they may be harmful to themselves, they could eventually be harmful to people within the community. At what point in time do you step up and say something?
Well, I'm gonna say this. You could say something, but that don't mean it's gonna change anything. And let me say, I also notice it's the way you say something to people. If you coming at them lashing, speaking hard, you know, for me, when I speak to people, and I do this, and I've learned to do this even in my workforce, you kind of let people see themselves first, not throwing rocks at them, or making them feel bad because of what they may be doing, because we can't change. No one can change nobody. Like, for instance, if you know that somebody's on drugs, just say they smoking. I'm not gonna say drugs. They smoking a lot of weed. Okay, just we're gonna use the weed situation. Okay, and you notice that they're doing it all the time, and it's a thing where you see that there's a problem, not that they're smoking it, but you noticing they're using more money. They never have any money, but they always finding a way to buy weed or whatever. I'm
It's
just
becoming
asking this question
excessive.
to you, Yvonne.
Hmm.
What would be your comment, or would you mind their business, or why, if you would mind their business, would you do that? What would your comment to them?
My comment to them would be from a standpoint of love and respect first, and then care and concern. And I would say, hey, I know that that's your thing. That's what you do. Because I've been there. But I see that you're starting to struggle with with some of the other finances and things, and that's some of your obligations. You can't get out. You can't go to work. You can't do this. You having problems paying bills and things of that nature. But I see that you don't have a problem with getting the weed and and things of that nature. So maybe you need to set a budget. On budgets. I'm not going to get up there and tell somebody don't do that because I know that I've smoked, but I'm one of those type of people. It becomes a part of my budget, my overall planning. Everybody's not good with budgets, but that's what I would do. I would be like, hey, why don't you set up a healthy budget, make it part of your household expenses, so that you're not overspending, and then when it comes time for other situations, you can't. And I'll be honest with you, I had this conversation, and my nephews, they'll tell you, I had this conversation with a couple of my nephews on this, because it got to the point, and the only reason why I said something to them is because they were reaching out to me on several occasions, a few dollars here, a few dollars there, which I don't have a problem with that, but when it becomes excessive, I said, okay, what's going on? Because you guys working some full-time jobs, really good jobs and things of that nature. And then when they say, oh, well, I want to go pick this up, I want to go pick that up. Well, hold on. You need to be able to take care of all of your other things that you have going on. And that is, what do you call it? Almost extracurricular. You know what I mean? That's a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
That's a luxury. It's not a necessity. So you have to kind of put things into priority. So I have had those those conversations, and I'm grateful that the people that I spoke to about didn't get an attitude with me about it, because I was coming from a good place. I wasn't like, look, honey, you need to do this, or that doesn't make sense of you doing this and the third. I've been there and I had to adjust, and it wasn't just on weed, it was just different things, clothes, call, I'm worrying about having a good time instead of taking care of things that I needed to. And someone stepped to me and said, hey, you need to reprioritize. So I appreciated that input.
Yep. And Diana, she said something that I was thinking. She said, and it's comment. I'm just gonna bring this comment. She said, I only comment if you ask for me for money because people get offended. Now let me say this. There's two things with that. And I noticed,
Hmm.
one thing is people bring you in their business. Now,
Hmm.
if you ask me for something and I comment on it and you don't like what I said, you brought me in your business. Okay. Number two, I'm the type of person I ask questions. Do you think, um, do you think what such and such, okay, for instance, with the money situation, and my sister tell you get a job in a minute. You might need a second job.
I,
You know?
I got a sister like that too. Like,
But I'm a question asker. I ask the question because for me, sometimes when people deliver messages, you might not think you're offending them at that point, but it is offensive because now they're feeling like I can't talk to you or ask you for nothing. I can't. I feel like if I ask you for something,
mm,
you're going to make me feel a certain kind of way, you know. So for me, I ask a question, so, you know, may I ask you what you need this money for? Okay, you need it for such and such and such. Okay, well, you believe that this time, like right now, you know, um, I can give you $10 or $20 or whatever, but do you believe you can give it back to me? Now, if you telling me if you want this money and you ain't gonna be able to pay me back, now it's my decision if I want to allow you in my business.
yeah,
Because then at that time, I'm like, okay. So
that's a
I'm
fair
like just
question.
giving, yeah, I'm just giving questions, because first of all, I don't really know what this person is going to buy it for because once I give it to them, it's their money to do whatever they want to do with it. But my whole problem is at that point when I see that person is doing something that's so out of hand, like not having money and you working a great job. Now the question is, for me, what are you doing that you got to
Mhm.
ask me for the money? Okay.
Mhm.
So my whole thing is once you put me in your business, don't get mad at me when I'm
For
minding
asking the
yours.
question. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. I like that. I like that. Well,
Okay.
I have a question for you. When do you feel that we should step in and help? And the reason why I ask that is that there are times when remaining silent doesn't feel right. If someone is struggling, making harmful choices, or clearly asking for help through their actions, should we speak up?
I mean, I feel like anybody that needs help needs help. But how are we speaking up? That's the thing. Now, if
Mhm.
you calling me and you giving me a listening ear, like saying, my son is or my daughter is such and such, and I can't get them to act right, and this, that, and the other. I'm having an issue with this. I'm a listening ear. I'm gonna listen. But when you call me and tell me your daughter or your son is doing such and such, and you come off and say, "Well, you did that too." I mean, I remember when
Mm.
you did this, or I can
Yeah.
see it's your response. It's the way you come off to talking to a person to make them feel like you are in their business. Now, if you
Mhm.
feel that, somebody's being hurt, like you getting whooped by your husband or something like that, I can suggest all the things in the world for you, but don't mean that you're going to do it.
Gonna take their advice. Yeah. The reason why I asked that is I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary called 77 Minutes. If you haven't seen it, I do suggest that you watch it. However, it is very graphic. Let me go ahead and tell you that right now. It is very graphic. And it is about a shooting that took place back in the 80s. Never heard about this one before. A shooting that took place in McDonald's somewhere in California. Over 40 something people were shot, and over half of those people lost their lives that day by one man. It's called 77 Minutes. The reason why I asked that is that there were so many people that this man had made remarks to, and no one said anything. He told his wife when he was leaving out they had had a beautiful day, and they had went to the doc. He had to go to court. The judge threw the ticket out. They went to the zoo, then went to McDonald's, had a good day, and then he got home. He told his wife, "I'm going to go hunt people." If somebody said that to me, husband, spouse, sister, I'm gonna call somebody and say, hey, because that's out of the norm. And she said nothing. He had made these remarks to other people around the way and said that he was going to hurt somebody or unalive, and no one said anything. And all these people lost their lives. That's why I said, at what point in time should we step up and step in? There's so many ways that you can report things, that you can say things. If you know that person personally, maybe you know some people that they know, and you could say, "Hey, this was said," because there are times like I had a little person, and Marvina, I shared this with you. And I'm not gonna put everything out there, but I had a little person, 7 or 8 years of age, tell me that they felt that they were really ugly and that they wanted to unalive themselves. I immediately, mama, cousin, grandmother, grandparents, I immediately said, hey, because that tore my heart out. And sometimes people are so, will sometimes step back and say, oh, can you believe what they said? And I will say, well, did you say anything to somebody? And they're like, no, I really didn't want to get involved. But those are times when you should. That's a good time to mind someone else's business, if you will. Sometimes you have to be willing to speak up.
That leads me to this next question. How do you know when you're helping versus when you're just meddling in someone else's
That's a good one.
business?
Um, I feel like when meddling versus someone else's business is when you got to check yourself. What are your reasons for intervening? Are you intervening because one day you want to have something to say, I did this for you, or I said, or are you intervening because you really care about this person, you really care about humanity, and you want to see something different for them? So you have to ask yourself, what are your reasons for, and that comes back to minding your business. When somebody comes to you for help, or you see something taking place, then you got to say, What am I doing this for self glorification, or am I doing this to really help this person in their situation?
So when I see people meddling in other people's business, they just keep on consistently doing things and being involved in something that doesn't have anything to do with you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
meddling is just what it is. You know, if I'm asking you, if I told you something and we did it, like for instance, I'm just gonna give it like this. We got we got people now who sits on social media and they
Mm.
constantly on social media just so they can see things that's on there so they can speak on it so they can say, oh no, you this, you that, you this, you that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's meddling. But if you talk seeing someone and they need your help, they normally will let you know they need your help.
Mm-hmm.
But if you coming in there and every time that a person you see something and you are got something to say, you know, you
Mm.
this, you doing that, and you ain't right, you're meddling. You're
Yeah.
meddling.
You being messy.
You're being you're meddling. You're just
Mm-hmm.
we as mothers we gotta know when we're meddling in our children's business or when we actually helping our children. Same thing with any parent, any relationship, because we have relationships now that, you know, they don't require our help, but for some reason we are always in it. Nobody can do anything or say anything without you always having your mouth on it or being involved in it. And sometimes it shadows you. When I find people meddling in other people's business, it shadows you. You might be sitting up there talking about, man, you done got married, you done did this, you done that. You know you can't be in these relationships, and then you look at yourself and you kind of be the same. You're the same way. And what is it that you're meddling in, and why are you meddling?
Mm.
You need to really pay attention, take an inventory, mind your business, find out
Mm-hmm.
why whatever this person is doing is bothering you so much that you got to
Mm.
be in their
I
business.
got you. So it's like unwarranted, unsolicited, and you just constantly meddling and getting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Why?
I can.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. And I have a question for because you just said something that's so important. You brought up social media. Do you feel that social media has blurred the lines between public and private business?
Say it again, one more time.
Do you feel that social media has blurred the lines between public and private business?
Do I think that social media have blurred the line between public and
Hmm.
what?
Your public business and private business, basically.
It's it's not social media, it's the people. I
Hmm.
mean, whatever you put on social media, it's and I notice about social media, people do it just to get views and followers and hits.
Hmm.
That's where, but I don't know if it actually blurred it more than effect the fact that people are more personal and they find that they like to show their personal business more than what they're doing as far as growth and potential and gifts. And so this is my side. I'm hoping I'm answering this correctly
Hmm.
because it's kind of a question that humans and people, social media didn't blur anything. It's the people in the way they post and what they post on the social
I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said that because I saw this. I saw this, and it's funny when we were talking about this topic how God would sometimes put things in your like, okay, this is a good point. This is a good point. So there's a lady on social media, and she can, I guess she had posted something about something that's going on with her family, and people, of course, they weighed in, made their comments, and she in turn attacked the people that made the comment.
media.
And my thing is, I says, ooh, she blurred the lines. You posted that information. We knew nothing about your personal life and your situation until you put it out there. So you can't put something out there and then on social media and then say it is private and people shouldn't have said this and said that. You put it out there. So, so that's another thing about minding your business. If you don't want other people to mind your business, you can't be so quick, especially with social media, to put things out there like that and think that people are not going to comment, that people are not going to come back and weigh in on what you have said, what you have put. These people don't know you from Adam. But you put your information out there, and then now you are offended by some of the things that people have
I
said.
don't think it's
That's blurring the
always.
line.
I don't think it's always being offended. See, that's where you get your algorithm. When you comment on something or you put something up there, and it's not always good, but that's how you keep people engaged
Yeah,
in your content.
right. No, she was true. No, and I
I
get
get
that.
it,
Yeah,
but
she was
I bet you
truly
she got,
offended.
yeah, but I bet you she got a lot of engagements too.
Yeah, and then
You
she
see?
wound up turning, and then I started laughing because then she went when people said, "Well, you put it out there," and then she got man turn off the comments, and so I get it. So I just said, well, I think that a lot of people go to social media and their vision is a little blurred with that because once you put something, social media is a public platform. So once you put something out there, it is no longer private. So that's what I mean by the private versus the public. And that brings me to a real good comment about this, about minding your business versus mind your business. I had there again, Marvina, you know this. I had a couple of nephews come to me and say, "Hey, everybody seems to be a little upset with me because this, that, and the third." I said, "You put it out there." I said, and I told them, I said, "I was pissed off." I said, "Your Monty saw it. She was pissed off. Other people saw that, and I said, we were visibly upset about it." And so my nephew said, "Well, you don't like it. You don't have to watch my page." I said, "I don't have to watch your page, and you need to remove me so it doesn't come up on my timeline. Then I won't see it." I said, "But you put it out there. It shined light on you and your actions. Not so you can't be mad because of what we're saying." I said, "You want a sympathy party, and I'm not about to take and get not about to take and give that to you." So that's why I thought
Yeah, I
about
get
that
it.
one there.
And I want to know, how do you mind your own business? What are some key things that you need to realize that it is so important to mind your own business?
Mhm.
Got a question? Got an answer to the question? That was my question to you, boo.
Repeat that again. Repeat it one
I
more
said,
time.
what is it? How do you mind your own business? What are some key things that you can let people know how to, mind? What is minding your own business?
Mm, that's a good one. That is a good one. When I'm minding my business, I am quick to get into the mirror. And I don't know if other people do this, but I will get into in front of the mirror and hold a conversation with myself. And I will, especially when I find myself getting upset about things or I, somebody has said something that irritated me or really bothered me. Marvina taught me this little trick, and she kind of touched base on this. She said, "What is it about that person that frustrated you? What is it about that person that upset you? What did they say, or what action did they do, and where do you see that in yourself?" And so it makes me get to a point of readjusting and refocusing because whatever they said or did, it may not have, I may have taken it the wrong way. They may have been trying to help mind my business in a way to be helpful. And I may not have wanted to hear what they were saying at the time. And I found it to be offensive, not because what they said was wrong, but because I wasn't ready to receive it because I didn't want accountability. Uh, and so I do find myself, doing that. And then focusing on my goals. I make sure that I started focusing more on my goals than everybody else's goals because I am that helper. And Marvin, and there again, I'm gonna tell you something. I love having a BFF like Marvina. I'm gonna tell you something. We do checks and balances. She'll kick me in my butt when I need to, and I'll kick her in her butt when she when she needs it. And she told me, she said she's one day she just told me, she said, "Yvonne, you can't help everybody." Every situation is not supposed to be helped. Because somebody called, I'm like, oh girl, let me figure this out. Okay, let me do this, let me do. And I had to stop doing that because it was detrimental to me. It kept me being sick. It kept me with headaches, the stress, the flares. I have lupus, so I was constantly going through. And so when I started focusing more on me and my goals, it made it easier for family, finances, health, and growing purpose. So yeah, so that's where it is for me.
Yeah, love it. Because one thing I realized minding my business, and this has been my walk since the passing of my mother. I bring this out because I've been learning to mind my business. I learn more about myself. I take the focus off of other people and what they're doing. I'm where my platform is on social media. I don't really get on social media often like I used because it allows me to focus on myself. And when you got when you have so many things in front of you, it mainly takes your mind off of what you got going on, and it puts it on everybody else. Um, I see that in a lot of times when we are searching the social media thing, or when we're in groups and all of these talking about each other and seeing. I see it a lot. I see it a lot. But mainly I like to mind my business because that's where education and intelligence starts to grow within inside of me. I look at what makes me dislike or what I like or what makes me move, what makes me want to get up in the morning, what makes me meditate. It's an inner thing for me as far as minding my own business. A lot of people don't like to mind their own business
Hmm.
because it takes the focus off of their insecurities and put it on to other people's insecurities. Let me say
Mm.
something, and I'm gonna say this: we don't really have insecurities. It's the problems we have is we look at people, places, and things and compare ourselves to what other people have, got, and do. So
Hmm.
when you stop minding other people's business and mind your own business, you'll find that it's easier to not keep comparing and stop seeing yourself as other people and trying to be like the Joneses, trying to make yourself look good,
Hmm.
make yourself feel good by looking at other people, and make yourself love yourself and feel good by the way you feel about yourself. And that's a key thing about mind your business.
Hmm. I want to put this question up that Tara. Let's see here. Let me see if I can make this larger. Hold on, guys.
I see it.
Tara says sometimes it's for validation and then wanting or looking for a certain response. But when it's not the responses that they were searching for or hoping for, then they become offended. This is so true, Tara. This is so true. This is so true. Wow, that is so true. And and I feel like when you are when you're minding someone's business in an effort to help them, you also have to have thick skin because you have to be acceptable of what their response may be to you and be in a position
Like what?
not to take offense. I have an auntie, one of my I call her class assassin.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you her attitude and her spirit about everything is just so beautiful. She can come to you and say, I was a little concerned and a little worried, just wanted to hold this conversation. You can blow up on her and she will say, okay, just know that I love you and that it comes from a good place. And she'll go on about her business. Some people get, and I've seen this, where some people blow up and say, "Oh, well, I won't try to help you anymore. I'm just trying to help you." Da 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 da. You have to be willing to, because some people are going to give you blowback.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're going
accept
to
the
get,
response. Yes.
yeah, they're going to give you blow. Because sometimes when you go to people and you're just trying to really just kind of, you just it's out of care and concern. Sometimes people like Tara said, sometimes sometimes people can sometimes be embarrassed that you saw them, because sometimes people don't even think that you see them or see what's occurring. And so when you say something to them, it can turn into a blow up situation if you allow it to.
But you got to be cautious on the way if the person ain't asking you for their help, of course you're going to get a blowback.
Mhm. Mhm.
Especially if, you bringing out something that they're having issues with, or they may not see the issue, but because your opinion makes them see other sides of what they're doing, it's like you better be prepared of what you're going to get back when you say it. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, um, you can't just feel that a person is going to accept everything that you say to them. When you
Mhm.
minding their business, and I've seen people get cursed out. I try to and God is my witness. I try my best to mind my business. I could stand in there and I like a rock, and you be steady talking to me. I won't say too much of anything because I'm listening I'm listening to what you're not saying.
Mhm.
And I'm good for that. I'm a read between the lines. You can say a whole lot of stuff to me. I hear wah, 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 wah. But I listen to what you're not saying. And that makes me get a better understanding if I should mind your business or mind my business. And it's great to be out to understand that, because I'm not running around here trying to mind anybody else's business, because my stuff is messed up to the flow up myself when it comes down to some business.
And I'm telling y'all something. She's not lying when she says that she, because I will have a full. I remember I picked her up one day and we were heading out. We were heading out somewhere. And we drove all the way down Fulton Industrial I-20, about what, 10, 15 minutes. I'm holding a full conversation. And then I stopped and she didn't say anything. I said, "You listening? What you doing?" She said, "I heard everything that you said." And I got offended. I said, "Oh, so did," and she said it wasn't anything for me to say. And then that's when she explained to me. She said, "Wasn't anything. It wasn't anything for me to say. She said, you just really wanted to vent. You really want me to mind your. You didn't want me to get into your business. You just want to just get it out there." So, she said. So part of that is, and I'm learning that through her, is that sometimes being a great listener is minding somebody else's business, but in a positive way. Because sometimes all people need is a great listening ear. They don't need the way in. They don't need the advice. They just need that list. They just need that listening ear.
And I am minding their business, be honest with you, by listening.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I could have been doing something else. I could be, by playing my game or whatever. But minding your business does not mean always having to respond to your business.
Mhm.
Sometimes minding your business is just like I said, like she just said, I do. I give you listening. I learned to listen. And I learned more how to listen since I've been doing what's in the bag, because people don't realize what they say may need.
You know, it came from my spirit when you said that about what's in the bag. And I go back to the man that was on here about the murder of his wife, and it was we thought the interview was going one way, and Marvina and I lit in because it was what he wasn't
He
saying and the
wasn't
manner in
saying.
which he was saying it, and it caused the investigation to be reopened. And then even the guy even recognized me and called Marvina up and said, "I need to meet with Yvonne after this." We said, "No, no, no,
No,
no,
you
no, we
don't.
don't."
Mm-mm.
No, we don't.
And you
But
don't
we
need
don't.
anything.
Yeah, we don't pull any punches because you're on the show. We didn't, it wasn't an attack, but we challenged everything that he said, because it was what he wasn't saying and how he was trying to overlap it with what he was saying, if that makes sense. So
And it's
yeah, so
easier to listen to the words. There's a thing we call a third eye. A lot of people see the two eyes.
mm,
You can see a whole lot out of these two eyes, what's going around you. But that third eye, a lot of people don't pay attention to that third eye, because that eye will see things that no one else sees.
come on
That's the
now.
same thing when you listening to somebody and what they're saying and what they're not saying.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
whatever you thinking, that information is gathering around. You know, you can get your own concept on what these people saying because they want to paint a picture of what they want you to believe. But it's up
Right.
to you to paint your own picture of what you see, not by what they're saying, but what they're not saying.
Hmm.
That works for me. Now that don't work for
Yeah.
everybody else. I'm not saying, go
Yeah.
ahead, Yvonne. Hit Eric,
I'm gonna
Eric
put,
Lee.
yeah, that's what I was getting ready to put up there. I was
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to put Eric up there. Hey,
Hey,
Eric.
Eric! Ah, my baby.
Look, I
You're
did.
my
I sent him.
friend.
I sent him. I shared it to him this morning. Thank you for joining us this morning, Eric. We got
Yes.
to have you back on the show.
Yes.
Um,
Time.
um, Eric said, minding my business most deaf been helping me grow. The real you is when you're solo, putting focus on who you really are, strengths as well as your weaknesses. It's a beautiful thing to mind your business.
Business.
I
Business.
love it, and I
Love it.
agree with you on that,
Yes.
Eric. Because like we said, you minding your business allows you personal accountability, and you
Personal.
have to be looking at that. And then Di said, let's see here. She said sometimes it's your deliverance and motive, or are they practicing what they preach? And this is so true.
Yep.
And this leads me to my final question for you, Marvina.
Mm.
Have you ever been told to mind your business when you were honestly trying to help?
No.
I have, so I'll be honest.
I'm gonna be. I'm now. I'm saying if I can go back, maybe maybe when I'm in my brain fog, it probably happened. But I don't make it my business to mind other people's business. I'm scared to mind other people's business. I'm gonna be honest. It's not a scare like I feel like I'm wrong or right. It's a fear of if I get into this person's business, it's gonna wind up becoming my business, and I don't want to be part of that business. If somebody needs me to be in their business, they will ask me, and that means I'm not meddling. I'm being considerate to whatever they got going on. I don't even to my children. I do not get inside of their business. Let them if they need me, they'll come to me, and I'll give them the best, I guess, response I can come to them to tell them. And I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong. It's just a fear. I've seen where people have been in my business.
Hmm.
I've had people get in my business.
Mm.
I treat people the way I want to be treated.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't get in nobody else's business. Good morning,
Yeah.
my
You
niece.
know, I've
Hi,
had people.
Naisha.
I've had people get in. Hey, my sunshine. I've had people get into my business and it turned my world upside down. I had people get into my business and it brought defects into my life and all these types of things based on what they thought and their perception, but no one took out the time to come to me themselves, and everything that they said and so on and so forth wasn't true. Just a lot of drama because they wanted to control the narrative. And I have been told to mind my business. I had someone to come to me and ask me could they borrow $3,700. They didn't ask me could they borrow or have $37. They literally came to me and asked me could they borrow $3,700. So I said, if you don't mind, I said, what do you need the $3,700 for? And they told me, oh, I'm behind on this. I need to pay my car note, my rent, and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm saying to myself, no, we're working at the same company. This is when I was in real estate, and this is one thing I hate is when they took and put they used to post my checks up, my closing checks up on the board. And I hated that because people would sometimes be like, oh, she got all the money. I bust my you know what
You
to
want me to
make
curse
that
on you?
money. Look, that's why I said I caught myself. I bust my behind for that. And I went to them and said, don't do that. Don't, please stop putting that up there. But when this person came to me and asked me for 30, they said, well, I said, oh, I don't know. And I said, I don't make those financial decisions, like that. And without talking to my husband about it, I said, that's a lot of money. I said, what's your game plan? I felt the Arthur Meadows in me coming out because these are questions that my dad would ask. I said, what would be your repayment plan? If it is something that I can do. I said, I'm not telling you yes or no right now, but if it's something that I can do, what's your game plan to repay me? How soon can I expect my money back? And you already in a situation, and to avoid you getting into a situation, is going to put me into a situation with you being able to give me my money back. And this person told me to me, you worrying about the wrong thing. I said, no, I'm not. You asked me for $3,700. I'm worrying about being able to get my money back. And I said, and so he said, just keep it. Don't do, just keep it. Just keep your little stinking 30. That's what they said. Your little stinking 30. You know what I said? I will keep my little stinking $3,700 because that told me right then and there everything that I needed to know, that you had no intentions on paying me back if I loaned you this money because you felt that I had it like that. That's number one. Number two, you telling me to say in the future, mind your business. I didn't come to you. You came to me. And so that was the only time that somebody said, "Oh, you need to mind your business." That you came to me, I didn't come to you. And so don't get mad when you put somebody you go to somebody and you ask somebody for their help and they have reservations about helping you and you feel challenged or you feel some kind of way about asking their questions. It's fair. It's fair for people to ask questions, whether it's money, whether it is loanings of car. I've had people ask me about borrowing cars and things of that nature. And it's only a few people in this world that I do not mind turning my keys over to. It's only a few people in this world that I don't mind giving money to because I know if I give it, I'm going to get it back. So I don't mind. Those are situations that I don't mind. But people that I don't really know, and then somebody on here put motives. I have to wonder what their motives are as well. And then people get bad and jump and say, "Mind your business." So that was the only time for me. I was just wondering if you had that
Yeah, no,
experience.
I don't mind people's business. Have you ever told me to mind my business?
No. Have you
Okay.
ever told me? Have you ever told?
Mm-mm. No, and I don't get off on minding other people's business. I mean, be honest with you, I just don't find it. I just don't like the way it feel when it's done
Yeah,
to me, and
that
it
part.
has been done to me. I never told them to mind their business, but I know that it was done, and I didn't like the feeling. So the
Yeah.
best thing for me to do is to live from my own experience, and I learn from my
hmm
own experience. I
Treat people.
really do.
Treat. I
I
really go out
do.
of my way to treat
Yeah.
people how I want to
Yeah.
be
Me
treated.
too. Me too.
I really go out of my way. Now if I see something, I will mind business. I will mind business. I am that person that if something don't look right to me, I will call the police in a heartbeat. And we've talked about this before about sex trafficking being at an all-time high.
Yeah.
I have seen things. Marvina and I have seen things when we've been out and about, and I'll make a phone call.
That's
I'll
something
make a phone
totally
call.
different. That's
Yeah,
right. That's
but that's
that's
but that's but you get
it's
people that say, I thought, but I don't want to get
yeah.
involved.
Well, you need to. I mean, you see
That's
something
my
that's
yeah, my
harmful.
yeah.
You
See
it's a
something, say something, mind
say
that
something.
business.
See something, say something. That part,
Yeah.
business. But to meddle in getting somebody's business
Mm-mm.
because
Mm-mm.
you feel that you're right, they're wrong, or you need to make a point to a person because of something they're doing or whatever. That
I've
you
s-
know,
I've seen people who have opened up their doors and allowed kids to move from their parents' home into their home because the child said, "I don't like the way I'm being treated at home," and then they're like, "Oh, come on over here," and I'm saying to myself, "What are you doing? You should encourage them to go home and handle it, not allow them to run away from." So it's a lot of things about it's
yeah,
so
it's a
this is
lot.
such a deep topic
Yeah,
about
it's
mind
a
your
lot.
business versus minding your business. So when you guys find yourselves in that type of a situation,
Yeah.
and we have all I don't feel that there's anybody in this world that once you hit your really middle school years that you weren't in a situation to where it came up to mind your business versus minding your business. And if you find yourself having to step in and mind somebody else's business, ask yourself what are your motives behind stepping in, and that should give you the direction that you should go in.
And as you heard the introduction, perhaps the real question isn't should I mind my business? Maybe the question is, am I focused on what God has assigned to me
Mm,
while still caring enough to help when it matters? There is
mm,
wisdom in staying in your own lane. And there is also
mm-hmm.
wisdom knowing when someone else's pain, suffering, or well being becomes a personal concern. So you know, you gotta actually
Mm-hmm.
realize what minding your business is. You know,
Yeah,
go
and
ahead.
you said something about, about God just then. Sometimes we jump in and mind somebody else's business when that's not what God wants, so we wind up blocking blessings for them and for ourselves. And I know that I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that because I love so hard and so strong. Like I said, I want to help everybody. And before God can get in and do, I'm jumping in. I don't feel that I'm God or anything like that, but I jump in and say, "Ooh, let me go ahead and take it. Let me go ahead and help." So sometimes we blocking the blessings that God has for
Yeah,
the blessings and the lessons.
yeah, and
The
there's
lessons
lessons
and
in
the
everything.
lessons.
Yes, and
Yeah.
everything. You know, so okay,
Yeah.
it is 9:59. We are out of here. This was a great conversation, and I'm thanking
Yeah.
everybody for their comments. Everyone
Yeah.
who commented, on minding their business, and I normally the ones that comment, they on this journey of minding their own business. You could tell. You can
That's
kind of
right.
tell on even what their response is. They
Ooh,
on
Tara
that
put a good
journey,
one up there.
huh?
I got to put this up there. Tara
Go
put a
ahead with
good one
Tara
up
put
there.
on there. I was gonna tell you too.
Yeah. Oops. Hold on.
What's
Did
wrong
it
with you?
not come up?
What happened? It was up there. What you do?
It was up. Okay.
Yeah,
There we go.
something wrong
Tara
with
said,
your phone.
yes. Good listening. It's about what's in that response. Are you responding to build the relationship or to tear it down? Are you responding to make you more powerful and make them feel less? It's about truly listening to what is being said, a heart with ears. It's not always about responding. Love, compassion, and empathy. The words can break a situation or build onto it. And I think that's it. Drop the
That's good.
mic.
Just drop it. Where the mic at? Where? Oh no,
Drop
I
the
can't
drop the
drop my
mic.
mic.
That's like
If I drop my mic, it's going. I can't. You ain't gonna be able to
I
hear
know.
me.
Look,
But
if I
but
take the
but
plugs
yeah,
out, but
drop the mic. Drop it. That's it. That's
Tara,
all
that,
we need. That was the ending of the whole conversation. That
you
was like
summed
we
that
left
up.
the best. Yeah, the best for last. We thank you
All
for
right.
that one.
Look,
Yeah.
girl, go ahead and roll the credits. We what is it? What's in the bag?
I
Tara,
love
as
it. Thank
always.
you. As always, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yes.
She's built for this type of, and I love that she comes on
Yeah.
because all her response is
Yeah.
basically right on point. I love it. Thank you so much, Tyra. I
Tara, we
love you,
gotta take
baby.
that drive down there to you guys because I see you and Brandy all over
Hey,
and
Lauren.
doing so many different things. You got to send Marvina and I several of your upcoming events so we can make plans
Yeah,
to get down there. We'll
yeah,
gas up and drive down there
yeah,
and
yeah,
come hang out for the weekend and be a
yeah.
part of. So
And
let us
just
know
give
what you
us a
got
little
going on.
early. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Auntie Baby. I see you. All right. Just let us know. Give us some advance notice, and we can probably make that. No,
Yeah,
probably we will make that happen. I
we
told
will
you
make that
that we're gonna
happen.
make that happen. I do have a few vacation time. I'm so happy about that, and so we can kind of get that in there. Yep. Yep, you do. You need to
Yes,
come
yes,
our way too. That's right. We need to
yes,
come each other way. You gotta kick. Yes, it's gonna be a wonderful time when we get that chance to see each other.
yes.
All right, girl,
Ooh,
you ready to get up out of
I'm
here?
ready. I'm
All
ready.
right, all
I'm
right. So, are
ready.
you ready to do these? Do this? Or you want to just go ahead on? Let me tell y'all, we have opened up our business for more
Yes,
Mito.
yes.
We're
I wish we
actually
had the commercial commute queued for it.
I do, but I'm so busy. When I see stuff, I'm a perfectionist. I'm twerking some things. They told us to go
Yeah,
ahead on and launch it and stuff like that. But I believe when God's ready for us to do it, we're gonna do it.
yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
getting it out there. Come on, Yvonne, you gonna say, go ahead. Wait, what? What?
Hey, we getting it out there. More Mito, baby. More Mito.
More
More Mito.
Mito.
More
We
Mito.
more Mito.
And I'm telling you that it's a really, really good product. Marvina's been taking it. I've been taking it. I feel amazing. I see the changes, and you get no complaint. You get no complaints from me,
Yeah,
none
I want to
whatsoever.
make sure my testimony is real. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm
Yeah,
just not going. I get it. Some people just want to sell something. Y'all think it's just, oh, you just trying to make money, but I'm not gonna sell anything that I'm not truly. It's not true to me.
that's
Now
right.
I've been on it for 2 weeks now. This is my second week on it, and energy. And I realized this with it. It does for your body what it needs. Like for instance,
Mhm.
I'm energy all the time, and it it gives me. levels me down. I'm still energy, but it's not
Yes.
as profound where I'm running all the time. I feel that I don't have that head fog all the time. It's growing my hair. It's growing my edges.
Yeah.
I mean, if y'all know it, I was having issues with my shoulder.
Shoulders.
And literally, I put the cream on every day and take a little drop of and I can feel the difference. Okay,
Hmm.
and this is gonna be my testimony. So when I bring this, when What's in the Bag bring this out, let me tell you something. It's not gonna be, oh, she say, he say stuff. It's gonna be
No,
our
it's
testimonies
real
too.
talk.
It's real
Look at
talk.
these 112-year-old looking hands, and I'll take them. I'll take it's pulling all the inflammation out of my body,
Yes.
and we can't make this up. And
No.
it is. It's growing back my little thin patches on the sides and everything. You just take and put a couple little drops on there. You take the drops, and it has all of these healthy
Yes.
minerals and
Is
vitamins.
it good? No. It's like, and I'm going, everything
Like
that's
a
good for you is
olive
not
oil
always.
based and all
Yes,
this other kind of
like
stuff.
a castor
Yeah,
oil base,
girl.
especially
Yeah.
the drops. The pills are just little capsules. You take those.
Hmm.
When I said this, when I first got it, I took two of them at one time. I was running around. I mean,
She
literally.
didn't know what was
I
going
didn't
on.
know. I didn't realize it was like a burst of energy, like boom. I'm like, what is? And I mean, I'm walking and walking and walking. I did over 35,000 steps that day, and I am not exaggerating.
She's not exaggerating. She's not exaggerating.
I'm not
And then she asked me.
exaggerating.
She said, Yvonne, how are you taking the brain and fog? That's what it is. Is a brain and fog pill. And I said, it says take one pill twice a day. So I said I take one in the morning and one in the evening. I've kind of spread them out about 12 hours apart. She said, oh my gosh, that's what it says. I took two. She said I took two at one time, but she is right. It gives you that energy. And then when you take it again, it gives you energy and then it starts to balance out. And what I mean by balance out, between 9 and 9:30, people on this show know that I have insomnia really bad. Between 9 and 9:30 now, Marvina is like, we were in a meeting last night. I'm sorry, I was yawning and everything. I
Mm-hmm.
apologize to everybody. But by about 9:30, my lights are out. It's like over said and done.
That's
Talk to
good.
you tomorrow.
Sleep
And it
well.
feels good. And I'm able to sleep pretty much all throughout the night now.
Mm-hmm.
And something else, it has helped with menopause. What you say? My hot
Yes.
flashes are not like the way
No,
that they
I forgot
were.
about that. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
see?
Y'all, I am not sweating like that. I get hot, but you don't see me
Not like,
drenching like I do.
yeah.
Nope, nope, nope.
Unable to sleep. You know how it is, ladies. And some of
Mm-hmm.
us are in the 40 plus club, some of us are in the 50 something club. I'll be 59 in January,
I'm telling
and I'm gonna
everybody
tell
that.
you, I don't have a problem, but I don't. I had, and then it's funny because as you're using this technology, as you're using these supplements, you'll be like, all of a sudden, you'll be like, dang, I just realized something. This doesn't
Mm-hmm.
hurt anymore. This isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, write it down.
Yeah,
Write it down because that becomes part of your testimony.
yeah,
These products, this technology work. When
yes,
I'm gonna tell you, I've been on it now for what, over 3 weeks.
yes,
I've been on it for over 3 weeks, and this has now become a part of my daily regimen,
yeah.
and I will not turn back. I haven't felt this good in a very long time.
Okay.
All right, girl.
All right, go ahead. Go get these first page. On
All
the
right,
good
then look.
page.
There we go. What's in the bag? What's in the bag? Interactive page. That is our Talk About It Tuesday, Motivational Monday, Talk About It Tuesday, Wisdom Wednesday, Thankful Thursday, and Friday. And I thank everybody who tuned up, who showed up and tuned in this weekend, commented. And Marvina, you did that with how you changed it up a little bit and put the graphics and all that kind of stuff in there and made it more engaging. So I really appreciate you on that. And then we have our what's in the bag with the question mark. What's in the bag with the question mark? That is our directory page. look, we tell everybody every week, go in there and take and post. If you go to a new restaurant that just opened up or something like that, put it in there so somebody else they can get that exposure, and we may find some other place that we want to eat. If you go see, you go see something, a play or something, put that information in there, share it with us. You have YouTube, and we have Twitch. What's in the bag in the number 21? What's in the bag in the number 21? YouTube, please go there and subscribe, like, and share. Twitch, you're able to now go onto Twitch and you're able to go in there and you're able to turn on a notification bell and save information as it relates to what's in the bag. So Twitch is growing. And then we also have our business number, 833-520-9482, extension 700 or 701, 833-520-WITB. Now let me say this. Somebody called the other week, last week actually, and they called like 3 times and didn't leave a message. If we don't get an opportunity to pick up, please, please, please leave a message. We will definitely call back. I assure you that we will call back. So whoever it was, call back. Love to talk to you.
Hey, so go ahead on BFF. What you got to say before we go? Let's get up.
Hey guys, God woke us up today, and it is such a beautiful day. He woke us up and it gives us another day to get it right. It's a fresh start over, a do-over. And with that being said, as always, stay blessed, be a blessing, and have a blessed day. I love you guys so much and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Next Saturday.
And let me say
powerful.
This is what's in the bag, the journey within. We know where every voice matters. And I'm asking you this morning, all day, until you meet again, are you truly minding your business? Or are you simply avoiding the business that requires your attention? Find out what your motives on, and why you're minding your business, and if you're minding your business. We love y'all. We pray for y'all. We thank y'all for all that you're doing, and for y'all coming on and enjoying our segments every Saturday. We will see you on next
Saturday where we have a panel.
We have a panel
of what it means to be a Black man in America. Please tune in for that. It's going to be hosted by Brother Zach. Big Brother Zach.
I forgot about that. Yep, y'all. I can't wait. It's exciting. That's gonna be exciting for me. All right. Have a wonderful day. Come on now.